Hey everyone, sorry I'm a little bit late to this live because I had to print out my notes and get everything set up. So I apologize for that. But this is recorded and will be on replay. So hopefully you are catching me wherever you are finding me. So thank you so much for joining me. And today we are going to talk about consistency, which is huge. This is such a great topic. So, first, if you are finding me on a Facebook business page or on YouTube, you can feel free to jump over and join us in the Conquer Your Sugar Cravings free Facebook group, where we are helping women to crush the sugar cravings and ignite their metabolism, even when things are busy, when we're doing it with positivity and support for each other. So, feel free to come on over and join us. So, right now, when I am recording this, it is the last day of November. December starts tomorrow. We are in the last month of 2020. Can you believe it? So, depending on where you are and what you celebrate, you might be busy with gifts and decorating, and maybe you bake cookies for the neighbors. Maybe the cookies are coming in from the neighbors. The neighbors are baking cookies for you. And there are different things going on. You've got things on your mind. So I'm wondering how many of you are in the holiday zone and are thinking, I just can't even think about eating healthy right now. I can't even think about exercising right now. I can't even think about whatever right now because I've got all this other stuff going on. I'm just going to wait until the new year. So if you are feeling like it doesn't even make sense to start anything with healthy living right now, and you're just going to wait until the new year, you can drop a comment, new year, or an emoji, um, because I think a lot of people probably feel that way. So, and how many times have you started a healthy living program or started healthy habits in January, and then you still end up in relatively the same place? So, how many times have you been on again, off again? You did some kind of program to get healthy, and then you kind of ended up in the same place, and then you're going to do it again. Um, Same thing. We keep on ending up in the same place over and over again. So, what is going on with us? Essentially, this is due to a lack of consistency. So, we go on this roller coaster ride, and it's kind of this classic thing that happens, where you get really excited about something. You think, yeah, I'm going to start running again, and I'm going to have this goal to do a 5K. So then you go out and you try to do too much all at once. And then it's painful, and then you pull back or you get busy or whatever the other things are, and that we have this up and down and up and down and up and down. We are kind of all over the place. And this really has to do with consistency, and it's in all areas of our lives. It's not just healthy living, it's not just healthy habits. It's really across all areas of our lives. So, for example, it's the weekend, we're tired, we're out of our routine, we don't feel like eating healthy, so we just eat whatever. It's nighttime and it feels good to snack. All sorts of different things. So we get pulled out of consistency basically by habits. Habits that can get formed. So, for example, it could really relate to a lot of different things. It's not just healthy habits. So, it could be you're trying to stay on top of your finances and you want to keep your checkbook balanced every week. And so, every week you need to sit down with all of your receipts and your transactions and get that balanced and get the bills paid. Or maybe you're trying to keep up with the housework and you're vow that you're going to get this organized, you're going to stay on top of things, or it could be staying in touch with friends, or it could be whatever it is, all these different areas. It could be health, it could be a goal that you have for running or exercise, it could be keeping on top of your finances, it could be staying in touch with friends. It's consistency. That's really what's at the bottom of it. And really, it's habits. Habits are what is going on. So thank you for joining me. If you're joining, feel free to leave a comment or just be a fly on the wall and watch whatever works. So it's really habits. So let's talk about habits. Habits start with a trigger and then they provide a reward and then they get deeply ingrained into our brain. They form like a little groove in our brain and we just kind of fall into that groove without even really thinking about it. So let's talk about some habits. Maybe it's the end of the day and we're tired and we want to relax. So we sit on the couch and we kind of mindlessly eating while watching TV. So the trigger is that we're tired. The behavior is that we're sitting on the couch watching TV and munching on food. And the reward is we have this calorie rich food that we're eating. Our brain, the old part of our brain, is wired to expend the least amount of energy possible and to keep you alive with nutrients. So when it has calorie rich food, that old part of your brain is like, "Oh, yes, this is going to keep us alive. We need to collect as many calories as we can." That's why some of the reasons why it feels good in our brain, and we want to expend the least energy possible. And as well, we're getting some boosts for our neurotransmitters as well. So we have this trigger, we have a behavior, and then we get this reward. And the rewards can be multiple different things. So the rewards can be, ooh, this tastes good in the moment. The rewards can be that center in your brain is like, ooh, this is like calorie rich food that's going to keep us alive. That's the old part of our brain. Or the reward could also be, I feel nice and full. I feel safe when I feel full. I know a lot of people like to go to bed feeling full. So there are all these different rewards that happen. Let's look at something else that's not health related. So let's say that you're trying to stay on top of your finances. So we have a stack of receipts and bills to pay and decide that we want to keep on top of our checkbook. So we decide, every week at this date and time, I am going to go through all of my accounts, all of my transactions, all of my receipts, keep everything up to date, pay the bills, all of that. And then, you'll be on your financial path. However, you find that every time you sit down to do this, you get sidetracked. So that you sit down to do this, and then all of a sudden you're playing a game on your phone. So the trigger in that case is perhaps it's the stress. Perhaps it's a boring task. Perhaps it brings up something else for you. And the behavior is playing the game is avoidance, is you get some relief from that stress. And then the reward is not having to feel that stress. Now, of course, in both of these examples, the reward that we're getting is an immediate reward that actually takes us further from our goal. So in the case of stress about our staying on top of our financial accounts, we might be stressed of, oh, I'm so behind. I don't really know what my bank balance is. I have to get those bills paid. I need to stay on top of things. That's stressful. And the irony is the coping mechanism that we use to deal with that stress actually puts us further behind and makes us more stressed. So it creates this loop. A lot of these habits just create this loop that kind of keeps us stuck in the loop. So we're stressed out about something, we avoid it, and then we're further away and we get more stressed out about it. And it just goes around and around and around. So our brain starts making this loop, and it keeps making the loop over and over and over again to the point where we don't even realize that it's happening. So it almost is an automatic thing. And have you ever had those times where you just sort of end up in the pantry eating out of a bag or something and you don't even know how it happened? Or you find yourself surfing on, Facebook or playing a game and you don't even really remember taking your phone out. You were sort of, really not, you just sort of ended up there. So that is some of how the habits get formed, and it's called being in default mode. So habits are how our brain makes things easy. We put ourselves on autopilot so that we can think about other things. So we have this habit loop that happens that it helps the old part of our brain avoid stress, make sure we're getting enough calories, avoid something that's unpleasant. And we just wire that behavior in as a default activity. And it's called being in default mode. So these default mode loops happen over and over and over again so much that it really almost creates like these deep grooves in our brain. And it's just so easy for us to fall into these grooves over and over and over again. And also, sometimes our brain falls into these grooves because it's familiar. It's a familiar state, even if it's not a pleasant state. So, how do we get out of this? Now, this is kind of a big topic, so it's not something that we're going to, cover everything on this right now. But really, the first step to getting out of this is to get out of default mode and be curious and kind to ourselves. So those are the three things for today is get out of default. So that default mode where you're kind of not even thinking about things. So it's just noticing what is going on with curiosity and kindness, even if it's already happened. So even if you're already in the pantry eating out of the bag, and that's when you realize, oh, I did not mean to do this. That's okay. Wherever you begin the awareness is fine. Just begin the awareness of, and it might look like this, I was supposed to be balancing my checkbook, and now suddenly here I am playing a game on my phone again. Interesting. I wonder what that's about. So we just become aware of it in the moment. So we're just bringing ourselves back to awareness in the moment, and we're just getting curious about it, and we are staying kind to ourselves. This is an important one because this is the point at which the mean voice will start to come out. The mean voice that says horrible things to you that you would never repeat and never say to anybody else, but we say them to ourselves. And that actually makes this loop worse because the mean voice comes out and it tells you things like, "Oh, you're so stupid. How could you do this?" and "What is wrong with me?" and all of these things, even worse things than that. I'm sure people have said to themselves, I know I've said awful things to myself too. So we say these awful things and that's more stress that the brain tries to avoid. And then you avoid even dealing with the habit. So we want to be kind to ourselves and we want to just be curious and just start to become aware of where we are. There is no judgment. Isn't that interesting? I was making dinner and now I'm standing here in the pantry eating out of this bag of M&Ms. I wonder what that's about. I wonder what that's about. That's a phrase that you can use. So, and once you get out of that default mode, you can start to look at what's really going on and what do you really need? What do you really need? So perhaps it's dinner time and you're trying to eat healthy and try new things because, like me, you're a picky eater. So you might be like, oh, I'm supposed to be making this chicken and broccoli tonight, and I really don't like broccoli and I really don't feel like eating this. You can start to just tune into that, the fact that you're hungry and you're not really excited to be eating this thing that you're eating. You can find a middle ground there. Maybe there is something healthy that you can eat while dinner is getting ready so that you're not snacking on just M&Ms. Sometimes people will have like a half a shake or you'll have something else that's healthy. Maybe if you have some apples and, uh, a nut butter or something like that that you're having that you like while the dinner is ready and you can still try the broccoli. So becoming aware and becoming curious are just become aware of, what's going on. So for example, if you're supposed to be working on your finances and you keep finding that you're avoiding it, then you can start to tune in to what's really going on. If you're working on your business and you keep on not getting to where you want to be because you keep getting sidetracked with things, you can be curious and notice what is going on. I'm really nervous about taking the step. I'm really nervous about connecting with this person. And you can begin to deal with that emotion rather than just avoiding it, which is what our reptilian brain, our old brain wants to do. So our old brain wants to keep us safe. Our old brain literally thinks if it's something you've never done before, it literally thinks you're going to die if you do it. So that's where we need the front part of our brain to kind of help us out. So, and that's where staying in tune with what is going on and not getting hijacked by default habits will help us use our higher brain, our frontal brain, to help us problem solve what we need to do. So, I would love to know what habits are you working on that you've noticed that are default habits for you? So, drop that in the comments. What habits will you notice when you are falling into those habits that you can stop, be aware, and be curious without judgment? So I know for me, sometimes at night, it's easy to just kind of fall into the couch and not go get myself ready for bed. And then I just stay on the couch because it's easier to stay on the couch than it is to just get up and go get ready for bed. And so just kind of becoming aware of that and the problem solving with that and getting out of default mode. So that is the first step. There are certainly other tools that are available, but getting out of default mode is really helpful. So, and this is really the key to all change. So if you've tried diet after diet, it's consistency. That's what's going on. It's consistency. And I'll definitely be covering more on this. So I'd love to hear from you and feel free to reach out and also join us in the group. Thank you.